Yo, what's up everybody? Kevin here. Welcome to the Snowboard Pro Camp live Q&A here from Whistler, BC, Canada. Stoked to have everybody here for the Q&A today. If you guys have any snowboard questions at all, definitely hit me up. But I want to keep the focus of this Q&A towards the new snowboarders this season. So if there's any new snowboarders out there, people that are just getting into snowboarding, if you're a beginner, if you have any questions, definitely hit me up. Going to be on here for the next hour to answer all your questions, but also just any questions at all. But I think it's good to keep it kind of beginner focused. It's a new year, so new year, new snowboarders, and I know a lot of people getting into snowboarding for the first time. So if you guys have any questions, if you're new to snowboarding, definitely don't feel free to ask. And also, I know a lot of people out there have friends or relatives or somebody who's also learning to snowboard too. So even if you're an advanced snowboarder, you may have some questions about teaching people to snowboard, whether it's like getting them through their turns or getting their gear set up for them or whatever it is. So yeah, I thought it would be kind of like a fun topic. But Happy New Year's to everybody. Hope everyone had a good holiday, good Christmas, good New Year's Eve night. And yeah, welcome to Snowboard Pro Camp in 2020. This should be really fun, guys. And here in Whistler, it's snowing at the moment. Let me just turn the camera here a little bit. But we got the snow's falling out there. That actually looks pretty cool. Maybe I'll turn the chair and keep that in focus there. But yeah, it's snowing here in Whistler, so this is pretty exciting. We did have some snow recently in Whistler, but it hasn't really stayed. A lot of it melted, but yeah, it looks like the snow is really coming, and we have like a cold snap coming through Whistler, so it's gonna get extremely cold here shortly, and extremely cold and extremely snowy. So those two things go really well together for snowboarding, cold and snow. So let's get into it. Big shout out to everyone who's tuning in early. We got, let's see who's on here. Shred 1904, Chuck Van, Meep, Grace, Daniel. We got, a whole bunch of people. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope you guys get to check out some of the videos I uploaded recently too. I was really stoked on the video I uploaded that was about some of the people in the snowboard community that I've gotten to meet over the last year. So shout out to the crew down in Chile who showed us around. Shout out to some of the young snowboarders that we met at the High Cascade Snowboard Camp. Shout out to Yannick and Narav, who have been stoked on snowboarding and helped us plan a bunch of snowboard trips over the last few years. And who else was in that video? We had Chile, we had some really stoked riders in Japan, we had the High Cascade crew. It's just all the people down in New Zealand. The progression down in New Zealand was super motivational as well. So really amazing year. This 2019 was super cool. It's always crazy at the beginning of the year, wondering what's to come. And I remember thinking that at the beginning of 2019, and it really was such an amazing year. So let's continue to give some people shout outs and get to the first questions. We got Brady on here, Rohan, R Star, Nick, Just Yizzy. Thank you guys all for tuning in. We got Gage, Alex. Alex says he needs a board, please. Definitely get one, man. Pick one up. Nicholas, thank you guys for tuning in. Adam Bad Riders with the first super chat. He says from Australia, he says, let's go, Kev, to 500K in 2020. Thanks, man. Yeah, almost getting to 500K subscribers. It's a pretty cool milestone. So that's going to be coming up. That's going to be coming up soon. I think I'm about 37,000 subscribers away. So let's get there. Thanks for shouting that out. And Kay Humas with a beginner trick question: how to press. That's a great one too, because learning to press is one of the first things one of the first beginner tricks you can start to learn. And I think pressing really comes from not trying to like really struggle with the press, but using your weight to get into the press. So moving your body like way out over the tail or the nose of your board. By doing that, you're going to be able to press. And yeah, having a flexible board helps too. So if you're not sure what the flex rating is on your board, maybe try to find it out online. But having a board that's like a flex rating of a 5 or under is it's gonna be easier to press as a beginner. Over 5, like 5 to 10, that's like more stiff, and that's gonna be harder to press. Not impossible, but just a bit more difficult. Oh wow, I like this background. This is pretty cool. All right, cool guys. So great question, another beginner-ish question. Could you say something about improve the turn on speed? I have some problems with the toe turn on speed. Big thanks. Greetings from Munich. Awesome. Yeah, I think the biggest issue with toe turns and speed is that what happens is when you're on your heel turn, you're really comfortable. You're coming around the heel turn great. And then you get onto the toe and you kind of get that like chuddery feeling. And that's because it's so easy to ride the heel turn that sometimes you forget to slow yourself down. So then you pick up a lot of speed on your heels and then you try to slow down too much on the toes. So think when you're coming around your heel turn next time to spray a little bit of snow and get rid of some of your speed on your heel turn. Then when you go into your toes, you'll have a much easier time with your toe turn on the toes. The other issue with toes is that sometimes people, they try and like face the bottom of the hill with their upper body the whole time they're snowboarding. And that makes your balance on your toes really difficult. So think about as your toe turn comes around, you actually start to have to face your shoulders to the top of the slope. So on your heels, really easy, you're facing the bottom, you can see everything in front of you. On your toes, you have to start to turn your shoulders and your chest to face the top. You can still look your head over your shoulder to see where you're going, but you want to keep your shoulders and your upper body square to your snowboard on that toe turn. That'll give you better balance. Great question. All right, so Trevor Hall with another really good beginner question. I love this. Best way to go from heel edge to toe edge. So the best way to go between those two edges is to not rush it. So sometimes people try to do that transition really quickly, and if you do it too quick, then you can kind of get caught up and fall down. But what you want to do is start to ride on say if you're on your heels, start to ride on an angle on your heels a little bit, then slowly let your board go straight and flat down the hill, and then rock onto your toes, and then use your body to turn, use your ankles to get onto that toe edge, and do it that way. Do it sort of like slowly. A lot of times people try to rush and go like straight heel to toe really quick, but you got to have that in-between moment where you go from heel to flat to toe, and then you'll complete that turn and that transition smoothly. So same thing when you're on your toes. If you're straight across the hill, start to go on a little bit of an angle on your toes. So you're angling your way across and down the hill, then let your board go straight down the hill flat, and then get onto your heels. So there's like that smooth transition. Great question. Logan has, so beginner tips for POW days. I feel like your first time going into POW, the trick is to really, with powder, you need speed. So being able to ride through it with a bit of speed, that really helps. The other thing, you definitely have to get more onto your back foot. So to keep your nose up out of the snow, you got to lean back onto your tail a bit more. Also, like reading the terrain. So when you're looking at a powder run, you want to make sure that there's no like big flat areas where you'll get stuck, because speed is your friend through the powder, and you need to like maintain your speed or else you'll get stuck. So read the run ahead of you and plan to not go anywhere that's flat. So if you do those three things, you should work out pretty well. So you plan it ahead, no flat areas, keep your speed up, and get onto your back foot. Really good questions. All right, I'm gonna speed it up a little bit this time, guys, because on the last live chat, I feel like there was so many questions I couldn't get to them all. But really stoked. We got 271 people watching, 57 likes, and already a bunch of super chat donations. Thank you guys for the support. Shred 1904, 5 pounds from England, from London, England there. Thanks, Narav. He says 500K subs in January 2020. Let's go. Thank you, man. That's going to be close for January. That's so if I'm 37,000 subscribers away, I guess, if PewDiePie could get to 100 million subscribers, I can get to 500K. I can do 36,000 in a month. So yeah, that'd be amazing. Cause if I can do it, I'll see Narav in Japan in January. So that'd be fun to get to that 500K milestone by the end of the month. But it may get into February. I'm not sure, but yeah, that 500K is a really fun goal. Tons of people saying hello. Shadatel Stacker, Nicholas, Northern Boys, Logan, Ride or Die, Carmen. Awesome. Thank you guys all for tuning in. And Justin with the question says, best tip for first time going to high altitude for some snowboarding. Yeah, that's a tricky one because when I go to here in Whistler, we're not at a really high altitude. The top of the mountain is 8,000 feet. In Whistler or Blackcomb. And when you go someplace like Colorado, I think the town is at 10,000 feet. So you start off at 10,000 feet and then the mountain goes to 12,000 feet. So when you're up in those elevations, you definitely feel it. I know that there's probably some kind of like tea you can drink or maybe even a doctor prescribed medication for altitude. So there's stuff like that you can look into. But the other thing is just adapting. So like staying hydrated and then also just knowing that it's going to take you 2 or 3 days to get used to the altitude. I feel like that's usually what I do. I just go and then after by like day 3, I feel like the altitude feeling has worn off. So I think that's the main thing is just waiting to adapt. All right. Yeah, tons of great questions here, guys. Shout out to Joseph for tuning in. Caden, Logan, Match. Awesome. Just for anybody, if anyone's spamming the channel, I'll have to put you on timeout. So don't say hello like 90 times. I'll have to put you on timeout. But let's just 1 or 2 hellos is great. But let's get into some more of these great questions you guys got coming. Our Lux says Happy New Year. Awesome. Thanks so much. Happy New Year to you too. Marco T says, I'm a beginner. I use the Solomon Pulse. Do you like it? Yeah, the Solomon Pulse, great beginner snowboard. I think that's a great one. Yeah, starts at a low price. It's got that camber to rocker. And really good choice. Way to go. Yeah, Solomon Pulse. All right. Oh, and Morgan West says Happy New Year and happy birthday from a couple of days ago. Awesome. Thank you, Morgan. Yeah, I came in to look for you in the roundhouse the other day, but I didn't see you, but I'll have to come stop in again. I've been riding Blackcomb mostly, but Morgan, I'll come find you one of these days soon and say Happy New Year. And Simon has a question about riding switch. Riding switch, that is definitely one of the things you want to master for learning tricks. Being able to ride switch is a must for tricks. And tips is like, for riding switch, it's basically you already know how to heel slide, you know how to toe slide. You're just adding in going down the mountain with that new foot first. So take your riding someplace easy, go to a mellow run, and just get comfortable getting that new foot going down the hill first. And be confident that you know how to do the toe and heel stopping. It's just about letting that new front foot go down the hill. So yeah, and put time into it. So what I do is on easier areas of the run, I always try to do them all switch, and then eventually, those easy areas get more and more difficult, and before you know it, you'll be riding switch on all different terrain, and then just keep keep progressing with it. Try some switch jumps, some switch ollies, and yeah, just maybe a box switch. And as long as you keep progressing with the switch, then you'll just you'll get good at it really quickly with some practice. All right, so Aya with a great question. What can I practice at home when I'm unable to go to the mountain all the time? Yeah, great question. So if where you are, if you can skateboard, I know skateboarding is a great thing you can do for snowboarding. Also check out some of the videos I did on the channel this past fall. So you can kind of like build yourself a at-home snowboard training system. So it's basically you duct tape some shoes to a skateboard deck, and then you get a 2-liter pop bottle and you fill it up with water, and then you can kind of like practice hopping onto the pop bottle and getting your balance. So all that stuff is good for balance training. You can also go to like a trampoline area and get on a trampoline. That's a great way to practice your air awareness. So trampolining really helps with balance too, and core strength. Or just go to the gym or someplace or at home and have some like exercises you can do to practice for snowboarding as well. So squats, sit-ups, lunges, push-ups, like all kinds of stuff like that. All the mimicking the things that you do in snowboarding, but in some kind of exercise is really good as well. And one thing I'd like to do in the off season also is going for hikes. So like hiking, using your legs, working your cardio, all that kind of stuff will be good for snowboarding too. War X says hello from Belgium. And yeah, it's gonna speed up a little bit through here. Tons of great questions. I think David is on here. Tons of people are shouting out David. Yeah, David Jones. We'll see him in a couple weeks in Japan. Another super chat from Bad Rider says happy birthday. Awesome, from the DWCP homies. Awesome, thanks Adam. Appreciate the birthday love, man. And David Jones is asking, anyone gonna be in Japan this month? Yeah, I feel like I know a few people on here gonna be in Japan, so we'll have to watch out for you guys. Also Whistler, if you guys are in Whistler, maybe we'll see you here in Whistler over the next few weeks. Jess LV with the super chat says, so I have an issue the opposite way. I can't seem to switch to heel after toe. And my board picking up speed so fast, I just feel impossible to switch. So Jess, on this one, I think what you need to do is just you just need to find like a more mellow area if that's possible. So get more of those turns going on an area where you're not gonna pick up so much speed, because it sounds like when you're on your toes and you go to let your board go straight, it starts going so fast that you feel uncomfortable. And yeah, just go someplace, go to a mellower area where you can practice more of those turns where you're letting your board go straight, but it's not happening so quickly. The other thing you can try is if you've done a bunch on a mellow area and you're ready to take it someplace a little bit more steep and you still don't feel confident, try reaching your front hand down towards the nose of your snowboard. So reach your hand towards the snow or towards the front of your board, and that will help the turn come around a little bit quicker. So it'll help you to go straight, but then it'll also help you to get onto your heels faster too. So reaching your front hand towards the front of your board or towards the snow or the nose of your board, that'll help for the board to come around a bit faster, and then you won't pick up as much speed. So give that a try. And yeah, big thanks for the support there, Jess. I hope that helps you out. All right. And Bass Fishy says, how do I stop slipping out when I board slide? Okay, so board slide on a box. Okay, so If you're slipping out, that's because your weight is too far back, which is totally natural. It's like when you get onto a feature and you're sideways and it's a little bit, it's a little bit scary, the tendency is to lean back. And when you lean back, you're gonna slide out onto those heels. So I would say first start off by doing more 50-50s, so just going straight on. And then when you go to board slide, don't like fully commit to the full board slide. What you can do is you can go on straight, 50-50, and then you can kind of like twist your board around sideways. And if you do that and you start off by just twisting a little bit, then you won't slide out backwards because you'll just twist as much as you feel comfortable. And then the more you get on there, the more you can keep getting your board completely sideways. And then when you go to fully commit to a completely sideways board slide, you won't have that same fear. You won't be leaning back. And another thing that can help you is kind of like the same as the last question, is taking your front hand and not reaching it towards your nose, but kind of reaching it like in front of you when you're sideways. So that'll prevent you from leaning all your weight back. Just reach a little bit with your front hand towards the box down in front of you. That'll help you keep your weight more forward. So go give those things a try. I hope that helps out, man. All right. Lots of great questions, guys. Thank you. Josh Snowboards with the super chat. Awesome. Thank you, Josh. Is that the same as, there's this dude that we met in New Zealand, Joshua Snowboarder in New Zealand. Josh, I'm not sure if that's you or not, but thanks for the support. Thomas Street says, any tips for spotting powder stashes? Yeah, definitely. I feel like when you see a powder stash, you can see it. You know where it's at. So when you see it, you'll know it. But yeah, and also it's like, I feel like when the resort is busy, it's almost like those places that are a little bit harder to get to or a little bit further away, or maybe it's a run where it's not as obvious. That's usually where some of the good powder ends up as well, because people just don't go there as often. So try to go to where people don't go to as often. All right, great questions, guys. Carson with a great beginner park question, how to hit your first rail. So starting off, definitely try to find the easiest rail in the parks. Find a super mellow rail if you can. And the first time you hit a rail, it can be easy because you don't have to fully commit to getting onto the rail. What you can do is you can actually plan on coming off of it straight away. So you can kind of like, as you approach, get a little hop and plan on hopping like too far so that you're kind of coming, if this is the rail, you kind of come on and then across the rail. So plan on coming off of it. You can do it either way, actually. You can get on and come off the other side, or you can quite not commit and come back off. But do something where you are just kind of testing it out to start. So you don't have to fully commit. You can kind of plan on coming off. And make sure ahead of time too, you get lots of boxes down and box tricks ahead of time too, so that you've had lots of experience with jibbing and have some tricks down before you try your first rail. And that way you have some confidence too with like ollieing, with your balance on boxes and difficult box features. And then when you do attempt your first rail, yeah, have that sort of backup plan of, just hopping off. And then as you continue to do that, you're gonna have more confidence to try to ride the feature all the way. All right, some great questions, guys. Tons of questions. L Stacker Adventures with a super chat says, we're all looking forward to seeing you in Japan. Shout out to DWC crew. Awesome. Yeah, El Stacker, big shout out, man. I can't wait to meet you in Niseko. So yeah, we get there. So we leave Vancouver on the 14th. I think we're in Niseko snowboarding on the 16th. So we'll keep in touch and we'll try to come find you on the 16th, man. It'll be super fun. All right. Fruity says, what's a good way to get confidence doing 180s and 360s? Awesome. I think confidence for the 180s definitely comes from being confident riding switch. So make sure you practice lots of switch. Also getting comfortable carving, because with doing 180s or 360s, you want to be able to carve into it. And being on an edge where you can like pop and get a clear jump straight into the air off of your edge is much easier when you can carve. So practice your carving, practice your ollies and jumps, practice riding switch. And then when you go to do your 180s, you don't have to do them off of straight going to the jumps. You can kind of like ride. What I like to do is like find like a side bank, and you can ride up the bank and start popping 180s. And that's a great way to get used to the spin, like winding your body up and creating that rotation. So start on side banks, work on carving, work on switch, and then the 180s and 360s will come. All right, great questions, guys. Okay. All right, Carson, man, sorry I had to put you in timeout, dude. You kept asking that rail question over and over and over again. All right, Jeremy O'Donnell with the super chat. Thanks, Jeremy, for the support. Says, tips to control while straight, not on edge. Yeah, great question. As like a beginner intermediate rider, it is tough to like stay in control when you're riding completely straight. And that's because when you're riding straight, typically your board is flat. And then when your board's flat, you're gonna like swivel a little bit. And then once you start to swivel, you can almost like start like touching with your edges, and it feels really weird, and that's when you can catch. What I recommend is that when you are riding straight, you still stay on a bit of an edge. So you can ride with your board flat, but if you're feeling uneasy at all, just get onto a bit of an edge. So a bit of a toe edge. I recommend actually a bit more of a toe edge. I feel like toe edge, you have a bit more control, or a bit of a heel edge. But if you have like a long, flat, straight area to get across, I would say to get onto your edges a little bit. It just makes you stay in. The edges is what gives you your control. And when you're completely flat based, that's when your board can kind of move around without you knowing it. So definitely a bit of an edge while riding straight will help a lot. All right, Henry Edmondson with the super chat. Thank you, man. Henry, 99 cents Australian. For a second there, I thought that was like a David Jones prank, but thanks for the support, man. Noah with a great question. How do you ride ice? Yeah, riding ice can be a challenge. I think when riding ice, first of all, like I like to ride. You can get a snowboard that is good for riding ice. So I like GNU boards, LibTech snowboards, Jones snowboards. They all have magnet traction along the edge. So the edge is like wavy, which really helps to like lock in on ice better. So you can ride a board like that. But if you don't have a board like that, I would say if you see an icy patch coming, you almost want to like slide with the ice. So you don't want to control yourself too much. You almost want to go with it so that you like skid across it on your edge. It's when you try to really like stop yourself on ice or do a sharp turn, that's when you can slide out. Also try to stay on top of your board. So if this is your body and your board's down here, try to stay stacked over your body. It's when you start to get angled too far out over the snow or over the ice, and that's when you can slide out too. So try not to get too far out over top of the snow. Try to stay stacked over your snowboard. All right, tons of great questions, guys. Adam Smithson with, do you have any backcountry tips? Yeah, one of the first tips I would say, definitely sign up for an avalanche course. I did an avalanche course about 10 years ago, and it teaches you like so much about the backcountry, about avalanche danger. The next backcountry tip is you can pick up all the safety equipment you need for the backcountry. So you need a beacon, you get a shovel, you get like a probe, and there's a bunch of other stuff you can get for the backcountry for just for being out there, but also for safety. So look into some of the gear, and maybe talk to people and just gain some knowledge through friends that maybe go into the backcountry or joining like a community or something. But there's lots of information too about like your local mountain or wherever you are about venturing into the backcountry. So learn as much as you can, take an avalanche course, get all the right gear, and go when the conditions are good. I think that's one of the main things too, is that when you're ready to go out there, go when the snow is good. So yeah, learn about all that stuff. All right, great questions, guys. Liam wants to know what I think about Ruroc helmets. They're definitely not for me. I don't like the full like face thing. I think it's like, for me, it's too much. I wouldn't wear one just because I need to talk for making videos, talking to the camera, but also I don't need to have like my entire face covered with a helmet. So for me, it's too much. And Cordell says, are you going to do any special video for 500K subscribers? Yeah, definitely. We'll do like a 500K special for sure. Another milestone that's coming up too is 100 million views. So that milestone I think we'll get to before the 500K. So I'll probably do some kind of special for 100 million views and then a special for 500K as well. So a couple big landmarks, milestones coming up. X Fun says, how can I start getting money to snowboard? I'm a little bit confused about your question. So you want to make money from snowboarding, or do you need to get money to snowboard? How can I start getting money to snowboarding? So if you want to, I think like for me, for earning money to actually start snowboarding is when a lot of my other friends are buying stuff like, I don't know, like TVs or computers or electronics or like things like that. I was saving my money to buy a snowboard, and even like I was one of my last friends to ever own a car. So a lot of my other friends had cars, but what I would do is like I just saved my money so that I could buy snowboard stuff, and then I would just get them to drive me to the mountain. So yeah, that's one way to get the money to actually do the snowboarding. To earn money from snowboarding, that's another question. You have to like maybe get into YouTube. Yeah, what ways are there to make money from snowboarding? I think it's probably only YouTube. I really can't think of any other way to do it, unless you get sponsored by Red Bull. So that's about it. Hope that helps you out. All right, just gonna get caught up a little bit. Tons of great questions here. Semyon wants to know, is David going to Japan this year? Yes, he is. David is coming. Dennis Hahn says, is there any reason why you don't ride a cambered board? Yeah, there's lots of reasons. So my board is mostly camber. It does have a little bit of rocker in it. So I ride the GNU Headspace. So it's like rocker or camber dominant, mellow rocker in between the feet. But full camber, I feel like, I don't know. I like the fact that I like riding a board that's not like super aggressive. I like a board that is a little bit more mellow, a little bit more forgiving and playful. So that full camber, like right out to your contact points, it's, in contact with the snow, which is great if you're riding at high speeds for control. for popping ollies and stuff, but there's a compromise. It's a less forgiving board if you make any like minor mistakes. It can be harder to press. It's not like as easy for doing jib tricks. It's a little bit more catchy. So yeah, there's kind of like some give and take. So I'm pretty close to a full camber board, but I just dialed it back a little bit just for that bit more of a playful feel. So also in powder, riding powder, much easier with some rocker in it. So yeah, like my powder board, the Libtech Orca, it's a mix of camber and rocker, and the rocker just makes it way, way easier for powder riding. All right, so Trockit007 with the super chat. Thanks so much for the support. Says, best way to navigate bumps / moguls. That's a good question. I was actually riding some bumps and moguls yesterday, and I was thinking about making a video, but maybe we'll have to, there is a couple videos on the channel about moguls, but we'll have to get another one up, like a refresh. But yeah, what I think about when riding the moguls is you actually want to ride like over top of the mogul on your snowboard. You don't want to try to like ride in between them. When you're riding in between, you kind of get forced into these like really tight, awkward turns, which I feel like skiers can do really well, but us snowboarders, it's tougher to get in between the moguls. So ride over top of it, control your speed down the face of the mogul, really use your knees. And yeah, just work on absorbing the turns with your knees, but also doing quick turns using your knees and your whole body. So using your whole body to do quick turns, using your knees to absorb those bumps, and your line should be like going over and then turning down the mogul. So yeah, I hope that helps. But yeah, just take your time in there, get used to it going slow, and then over time you can start to speed up. Kuya with the super chat. Awesome. Thanks for the support. Says, hey, Kevin, ever tried a signal board? Just got mine and shredding mine out in Telluride in 10 days. Awesome. Very cool. I've never gotten on a signal snowboard. I feel like it's like a different program. They don't sell the snowboards in the shops. They like, you have to, I guess like buy the snowboard online and then you pay them monthly, which sounds pretty cool, but I feel like, I don't know if they do it in Canada. So I'm here in Canada. I'm not sure if they ship their boards to Canada. They might. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I've never had a signal snowboard because I don't see them in shops and you have to like order it online. So, which is kind of like a weird thing for me too, because I want to actually maybe hold the snowboard and touch it and flex it and all that stuff before I buy it. And that's with the signal boards, I guess you just have to. But I'm stoked that you got one. I hope you like it. And yeah, I would like to try one out one day. That'd be really fun. And Jack Williamson with the super chat says, love your vids. What has been the hardest trick for you to learn? Nice, Jack. A hard trick for me to learn has actually been doing like the board slides and like going sideways on rails. And I find that it's like a mental thing. It's like, it's scary to go sideways on a piece of metal. And I had like a few times that I've slipped out on them and kind of like smacked my head and smacked my tailbone. But it's something that over the years I've just been working on. And in the last year, I feel like I've done the most board slides on rails or metal tubes. And when you get it, it is very like smooth. Like usually rails and tubes, they slide very smoothly, which is a really good feeling. But yeah, that was one of the hardest. I'd say that's probably the hardest thing that I've had to overcome was just mentally just being able to train yourself to go for it. Because when you're kind of like intimidated or afraid of something, it's very easy for your brain to tell you not to do it, even though like physically, like, you know that you can. It's just that mental game of getting over the fear. So that's definitely been the hardest one for me. Yeah, great question, Jack. All right, so we got tons of great questions, guys. Arco wants to know what's better, camber or rocker. I don't think one is better. They each have their own. Camber and rocker each do things differently and well, so you got to decide on what kind of snowboarding that you want to do, and then go for a camber board, a rocker board, or a snowboard that has both. So you can't really say one is better than the other. And Pat McFarland says, aloha from Hawaii. Awesome, Pat, man. I would love to get down to Hawaii sometime soon. Maybe after this winter, go check out Hawaii. That'd be really fun. And Ross wants to know, I would love to know, how do I hit the park, and any tips for a first timer? Yeah, first timer, I would say, first of all, before you go into the park, make sure you got some side hits going outside the park that you can ride with speed. You can ride with your snowboard straight and flat. You've practiced switch. You maybe have like a handful of tricks going outside the park. And then your first time going into the park, try to find the smaller park. And I would say, just park safety wise, make sure you're not riding under any landings. Maybe ride through and take a look at all the features first. And yeah, main thing is your first run through, look at stuff, stay out of the way of any landings. And yeah, then when you start to go for stuff, just start small. And if you start small and ride and progress within your comfort zone, then yeah, you'll be good. All right, tons of great questions here. Yeah, all right. Just how to put have to put people in timeout if you ask the same question like 90 times. All right, but yeah, great questions, guys. There's tons. I'm here. Oh, Hopsy says, I'm your 100th like, by the way. Thanks, Hopsy. That's amazing. Yeah, 137 likes on here. 279 people watching. Very cool. Yeah, if you guys are joining late, I'm coming to you guys here from Whistler, BC, Canada. We've got the snow falling outside, and it's supposed to get extremely cold here in Whistler. I think over the next half a week, 4 or 5 days, it's like -7, -8, I believe. And then I think in like a week and a half, it's supposed to go down to like -30. And yeah, I think we're supposed to get a lot of snow. We recently had a bunch of snow, but it was really warm too. So it all kind of like melted. So this is, we've had some interesting weather, but hopefully this snow that we're getting now, hopefully it stays. And yeah, the cold will definitely help it to stick around. So some interesting weather here in Whistler, but yeah, this is like the beginner snowboard Q&A. So definitely hit me up with any beginner questions. If you're a beginner, or even if you have, if you're an advanced rider, but you have somebody to teach as well, hopefully this Q&A will help you out as well. All right, so Heath with the super chat from Australia says, from Cairns, Australia, love the channel, Kevin. Heading your way in 2 weeks. Question, how do you clean your outerwear, keeping them nice and fresh for riding? Is it worth having 2 sets? Yeah, good question. I feel like your outerwear could be cleaned like once a season, like your jacket and pants. And what you can do, there's a product out there, I think it's called Nick Wax, and you can buy it at most of the stores here in Whistler. But it's 2 bottles, and the first bottle is like the cleaning solution that you just put into your washing machine. And then the second product is the waterproofing solution. So you put it through the first cycle, you put the cleaning solution in, it cleans it. And then the second cycle, you put the waterproofing solution in, and then it re-waterproofs it. So you could do that once a season, or maybe once every 2 seasons. It kind of depends on, yeah, how much you wear your stuff. I would say, like, if you look at your outerwear and it looks fine, I would try not to clean it, unless you're like really sweating a lot into it, which is the case sometimes too. So if that's the case, then maybe clean it once a season or twice a season and get some of that cleaning solution. So yeah, check out the product is called Nick Wax, and here in Whistler, almost every snowboard and ski store sells it. So that's what I would do. All right. Old Man Shredder is on here. What's up, Old Man Shredder? Happy New Year. And he says, Happy New Year. Awesome. That's awesome, Old Man Shredder. Thanks so much. Saw some of your videos recently too, looking like a lot of fun. And hope you're getting some good snow and having some good snowboarding over in Sweden. I think the last video, Old Man Shredder, that I watched was, you're hitting a bunch of features in like a terrain park there in Sweden. So looked really fun. And you're riding your Burton board. I think it was the Burton, I think it might have been the Deep Thinker, but I couldn't quite tell, but looked like a lot of fun, man. Jonathan says, Kevin, just want to say hi and thanks for all you do, man. Awesome. Thanks so much, Jonathan. All right. Timothy, best advice for chaining or linking turns confidently. I had a very bad fall due to improper board width. Now I feel too afraid to even try. Oh no, and link my turns. It's a thought I just started again. Is it tough? I would say, Timothy, is to just like go at your own pace. Like take your time, get your toe sliding down, get your heel sliding down. Get used to going back and forth across the hill on your toes and on your heels. And then when you go to try those first turns again, do it someplace where you feel confident doing it, so someplace mellow. And what you can even do too is get somebody to give you a hand through those first turns. So get somebody to hold onto your backhand to prevent you from going too fast. And then do that, like say a dozen times, having somebody hold your hand so that you can link those turns together. And then once you're feeling confident, then start trying them on your own. So add in that step of just getting somebody to give you a hand. And then when you do go snowboarding, go on days where the snow is good. And you can tell when the snow conditions are good when you start going down. And if they don't feel good, like don't push it on those days. Have mellow days when the snow conditions are bad, and when you're feeling good and the snow's good, that's when you can start to really work on linking those turns again. So yeah, good luck with that. I hope you fully heal up from that fall, and keep it going. Just keep progressing. You'll get once you get the linking turns thing down, like you got it, and you'll just keep progressing from there. Brady wants to know tips for doing butters. Yeah, butters, one of the first tricks you can learn as a beginner intermediate rider. And I would say the biggest tip for butters is to get into the butter by really moving your weight. So think about moving like your hips over top of the nose or tail of your board, really committing into it and finding that sweet spot where you can get into like a press or a butter and stay in it. And also having a flexible board helps, but also when you're getting into butter tricks like the like nose rolls or tail rolls or anything like that, being able to ride switch can actually really help with those butter tricks too. So practice some switch riding. Practice getting into those presses. Even practice your ollies and nollies, because being able to ollie and nollie will help you to kind of come out of the press too, being able to just kind of push out of it. So practice ollies and nollies and presses and all kinds of stuff, and get creative with them too. Try them in different spots. I feel like where you butter helps a lot too. So my favorite place to butter is anywhere where the run kind of like actually raises up a little bit, because it helps to add pressure to your board and helps you to not go too fast. So anywhere where the slope starts to go up is a really good place to butter. All right, yeah, tons of great questions, guys. I need to go faster to get to more questions. Benjamin Wilson with the super chat says, what's the easiest flip/spin combo? Corks, rodeos. Man, I don't know. To me, all that stuff is hard. So I would say the easiest way for you to find out would be to maybe go to a trampoline spot and get some of those things going on a trampoline. And then whatever one feels easiest to you on a trampoline, that could be the easiest one to go for into powder or on a soft snow day. All right. Just gonna get caught up a little bit, guys. Chris Hello says, I just got a LibTech snowboard all mountain. Any suggestions on a powder board? Yeah, so the powder board I ride is the LibTech Orca, but powder boards in general is you want to find a powder board that has like a fat nose, a smaller tail, something. I really like the powder boards that have the rocker camber combo. So I like the camber under the feet and then rocker in between and towards the nose and tail. But you can also, a really popular profile too is the camber towards the back with the rocker in the front. So the rocker just making the nose rise up out of the snow. You can also go for the boards that have the nose that are shaped like a spoon. So the sides of the boards in the nose actually rises away from the snow as well. So yeah, just look for those qualities. I really like the Nitro Pow is a fun one. Yeah, what else? There's so many out there. There's like hundreds of great powder boards out there, but yeah, just look for that one that's got that big nose, small tail, and yeah, from there, it's there's so many variations. All right, so Road Trip wants to know, how do you get comfortable with faster speed? Getting comfortable with speed really comes from being able to control the speed with your edges. So I feel like once you can do quicker turns, so like getting onto your edge, spraying a bit of snow out the sides, that really starts to help with riding faster, because when you're riding fast, the thing that gives you confidence is that you know that you're going to be able to quickly make a few turns to control your speed. So get those faster turns going. Also, use your knees to absorb any of the bumps that are coming up in the snow. And confidence with speed too comes from knowing the run that you're on. So make sure that you're looking ahead and you know what to expect. When you really know what to expect in the run, that's when you can start to ride faster. So try some of that stuff. And yeah, you'll also like progress like in stages. Don't try to like go max out right away. Just slowly build your speed up. And Julian says, happy birthday and greetings from Germany. Awesome. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes, man. All right. Let's see what else is going on here. Adam Bad Rider says, when's the next podcast, Kev? Oh, and thoughts and prayers to Aussie snow resorts with fires. Oh, wow. I didn't know there was some fires going on down there. So yeah, I hope everyone in Australia is safe and those fires get under control. That's pretty scary to hear. And then when's the next podcast, Kev? Man, it's hard to do podcasts with and snowboard all day long too, because everyone is after snowboarding has other stuff to do, like editing videos, eating food, going to bed early to get up for the next morning. So at the moment, no podcast planned, but maybe we'll do a podcast in Japan, because we'll have everyone there and we can set something up from Japan. So let's say the next one will be in Japan. I'm gonna definitely try to get one, because we'll have David there, we'll have Chris, Andreas, TJ, Bo, Yannick and Rav, we'll have the whole crew. So we'll get something going in Japan. All right. Some people are giving me shout outs on the 100 million views. Yeah, coming up, only a few million away. So stoked about that. Wow, tons and tons of questions, guys. All right, Old Man Shredder with another super chat. Thanks so much, Old Man Shredder. Bad Riders says, oh, okay. Adam wants to be a mod on the live chat. Yeah, we can make that happen. Okay, I'll get some moderators going on the live chat. That'd be good. Cause yeah, when there's so many people in here, we start to get all kinds of get some weird questions going in, and we get people saying things 100 times in a row. So yeah, it'd be good to have some moderators. So Adam, I'll try to make you a moderator after this. Dylan Evans with the super chat from Australia says, mad vids, bro. Can you recommend how to reduce extreme pain on outside arch of foot? I have bought boots now, but maybe positioning, etc. Thanks. Yeah, so you can do a few things. You can try to play with the width of your snowboard stance. Sometimes that can be it, having a snowboard stance that's too wide or too narrow. So kind of like play with that a little bit and see if that helps. The other thing is that you may be doing your bindings up or your boots up too tightly. So what I do is I often don't actually tighten the bottom half of my boot too much. I leave that area a bit looser, and the top half of my boot I'll tighten more. So that could be something to play with as well, having having your boots looser or more tight in certain areas, towards the top. If none of those things help, you can also look into getting a boot liner. So an insole or a liner that can kind of give you some more arch support. That could be something you look into as well. You can just buy some at the shop that are just like a generic liner that's just better than the liner that comes in with your boots, and you can get more and more arch support as with different liners. Or you can go, and then the final one would be to get custom footbeds made. So a custom footbed, it may cost you a few $100s, but that's like a way that you can really just get the best possible liner and footbed for your boot. So a few different options there. Maybe tweak your board stance at first. Try some of those free options first before going out and buying expensive footbeds. But yeah, I hope that'll help with that problem, man. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Yeah, foot pain really sucks. It's one of the worst things for sure in snowboarding. And CCC wants to know, what size is your Orca? So the Orca size I have is a 159. So last year I had the 153, and it was great. It was really fun, but I wanted something that was even more stable for high speeds, could flow even better, and the 159 feels really good. It's a little bit big for me, but I actually like that. I feel like for me this season I wanted to try something bigger, and it's been fun. And George with the super chat says, do you have any tips for beginners to catch an edge, or to stop catching an edge, I guess? Yeah, I would say catching an edge mostly comes for when you're trying to go through your turns too quickly. So take your time when you're going from edge to edge. Start on your toes, let your board go straight slowly get onto your heels. And when you kind of are a bit more patient with your turns, I feel like that's when you're not going to catch. Also, when you are riding straight, stay on a little bit of an edge, and that will it's when your board is flat, completely flat. That's when sometimes it can start to get turned sideways, and then you catch an edge and fall over. So try to stay on the edge yourself, on your toes or your heels. And the final thing I would say is that having good balance over your board too. So keeping your shoulders, your upper body square to your board, and not being too twisted when you're snowboarding. That can also help. The better balance will help you prevent you from catching an edge as well. All right, great super chats, guys. Thanks everyone for the support. And CCC with another super chat says, what size Orca should I get? I'm 5'8", 185 pounds. Want it to be able to go in the trees. Nice. So for me, I'm 185 pounds. I got the 159, but that's not, I would say that might be too big for you. That's not the most maneuverable size. So if you want a size that is more quick to turn through trees, you need a board to be quicker turning through the trees. So I would go for the 156 or the 153. I think between those two boards, 53 or 56, that'd be a great size for you going through the trees. Yeah, that shorter size, it's still going to give you lots of float, but it's just going to be more maneuverable. And those boards are actually designed to be ridden shorter. So you can ride a 53, and that'll give you that quick maneuverability that you need for the trees for sure. And Al Stacker with the super chat says, I agree with bad riders, hashtag mod squad. All right, cool. Yeah, let's get some moderators going on here. That'd be fun. And Spencer Dwinell with the super chat says, hey Kevin, my wife and I love the channel. Any tips for making sure our boards get dry at the end of the day? Thanks for all the great content. Yeah, really great question. So what I do is I have like an entranceway mat that is pretty thick, and there's like a heater sort of in that area too. So I try to get all the snow off of it before I bring it into the house, but I'll just leave it standing and leaning against the door in the corner for maybe 15 or 20 minutes so that all the snow can drain off of it. And then I'll actually go and I'll turn it, like I'll just flip it upside down and put it in a different spot so that the board isn't sitting on anything that's wet. And so I'll just kind of like keep it in a dry area, dry, warm area of the house until it's completely, you know, all the water's dripped off. And I'm just making sure that it's not sitting, the edge of it isn't sitting in any like moisture or water, because that's when the nose or tail of your board can start to rust. So yeah, I'll just maybe go and check on it once or twice, flipping it around and making sure that all the water just drains off. And yeah, once it's dry, you can kind of lean it anywhere, somewhere where it's not going to fall over, and yeah, and then you're good. But great question, yeah, Spencer. Thanks for checking out the channel. Really good questions, guys. All right, and Sean says, hi Kevin, I'm a beginner and just started to buy my equipment step by step. What's a suggestion for a do-it-all board? Ride Twin Pig, or what's your suggestion? Yeah, the Twin Pig is fun too. I would say if you're a beginner, you could probably go with an even more basic board than that. All mountain board. I think, yeah, just look for those boards that look good to you, but also, yeah, you want to start for your first beginner board is start something that's a low price point, something that has some rocker towards the nose and tail that just makes it more forgiving, easier to turn, and also something that, yeah, just make sure that you get the right size for you. So check out the scale, make sure that if you have size like 10.5 boots or over, that you get a wide snowboard. But something like the Twin Pig is pretty good because I believe that that's a flat board. So it's like flat to rocker. So it's a bit more forgiving. So, and also if you're looking all mountain, you do want it to be a little bit stiffer, but if you want it to also do a bit more do everything for if you want to do any tricks, then you could do something that's a bit softer too. So a stiffer board for just riding and carving and all mountain, a bit of a softer board if you want to learn any tricks. And Pezzi says, yo, I just want to say that I've been riding for nearly 26 years and I love your channel. You guys rock. And even though I've been doing this for so long, I get some great tips from you guys. Awesome. Thanks so much, Peasy. Yeah, 26 years. That's, I feel like, how long have I been snowboarding for? Not quite that long, but pretty close. But yeah, that's awesome, man. Appreciate you checking out the channel, and yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah, 26 years. That's awesome. That's a good amount of time to be snowboarding. All right. Great questions, guys. Let's do a couple more here. James Mackey with the super chat says, hey Kevin, going to Niseko on the 25th of January. I need to wax my new board for the trip. Would you recommend cold wax or all temp? Maybe check the weather report in Japan, but typically in Japan, it's very cold. So I would go for the cold temp wax. But you know, check it ahead of time, maybe like a week out, check the weather, and then get the wax on based on that. But I would be leaning towards the cold temp wax because normally in Japan, it's very cold. So yeah, check that out, and maybe we'll see you there. And shout out to TJ. TJ bought me some wax for my birthday. He bought me a few different waxes, so I'm covered. Thanks to TJ for the birthday present. All right. All right. Great questions, guys. Let's see what's going on here. Ace says, I teach everyone now. My kids love you and David Jones. Seven Springs. PA here. Awesome. That's great to hear. Yeah, teaching teaching everyone. That's what I was doing before I did the channel. It was just, yeah, loved sharing snowboarding. So that's awesome to hear. And John Olson, do you recommend wrist guards for beginners? I do. I definitely, I recommend wrist guards for beginners. I think like as a beginner, the number one place you're probably like potentially get an injury is with your wrists, because you're falling over and kind of like, normally just from a standstill, just like falling over onto that firm snow. So a wrist protector can really help. I'd also wear impact shorts and definitely 100% a helmet, but yeah, helmet, wrist guards, impact shorts to protect your tailbone, and then you're good. But I would recommend wrist guards. I've asked I have asked the safety patrol, like if they would recommend wrist guards, and I think they said, I've asked a few of them. I feel like they haven't given a strong answer, but I feel like they would recommend wrist guards. I know some people say that wrist guards, they don't work or whatever, but I'm of the opinion that they probably do work, and you should just take every precaution. All right, sweet. Awesome. Awesome, guys. So that's just over the hour mark. Thanks everyone for tuning in for the live chat this week. Big happy new year to everyone. We're going into 2020 here, and I hope you guys are getting some good snow where you're at. And yeah, big shout out to everyone for hopping on to the live chat this week. We've had over 200 people this whole time, so that's amazing. Shout out, thanks everyone for the likes, over 176 likes. And yeah, thanks everyone for the super chats as well. And Al Stacker is saying that Jonathan Buckhouse is going live. Nice. Tell that guy to go live on a different day. He's cutting into my live chat time. Maybe we'll start this live chat earlier so we don't overlap. But yeah, big shout out to everyone for sticking on here for the live chat this week. And yeah, have fun out there snowboarding, guys. Be safe. I feel like if you guys haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Also hit the bell beside the subscribe button to get notified every time that we go live here. And also, if you guys have any questions that I missed or video requests, just leave them below the latest video on Snowboard Pro Camp. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys again next week on Thursday at the same time. Yeah, have fun out there snowboarding, guys. Be safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much, everyone. Happy New Year.